All right, we should be live.
All right, fantastic. This is a long time coming, huh?
Right.
I think we should start measuring the launch cycle by the number of nights or all-nighters that everyone pulls in between launches.
Yeah, just hours slept.
Yeah, hours slept.
Okay.
I wonder what the correlation between new features launched and hours slept would be. That's a metric we should really track.
Cool. I can see some people coming in.
Yeah, everyone joining,
brilliant.
feel free to say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're joining from, or even just say hi. We're really happy to have you here.
I've also just got a fun error, of course, standard launch day. We have an issue with YouTube comments. So anyone watching on YouTube, if you want to interact with the stream, come over here.
And here would be the LinkedIn event directly.
Yep. Oh. Someone can't hear us. Audio looks fine to me. LinkedIn user, let us know what's up. And if it gets any better. Can't see an issue here.
If anyone in the chat can hear me, that would be good to know as well.
Someone from Knightdale, Puerto Rico, Texas State University, and San Marcos. Fantastic. Darren from Austin, brilliant. And he can hear both of us.
Fantastic.
Phenomenal. Right, with that excellent segment of people confirming, and definitely not just an isolated user, should we kick this off?
Yeah, absolutely. And, for everyone who's on the call, just so you know, if you post us on LinkedIn today and tag Grantx, we'll provide you with a free month of access. So make sure to do that today, and we'll kind of keep track of who's tagging us, and we'll be in touch. Fantastic. All right. Well, welcome everyone to the fall launch of Grantx. Today, you are seeing the future of fundraising. Finding funding has never been easy. People in every industry have had to step up and take on the challenges that the grant-seeking process presents. You have to push through and really navigate a fragmented system with poor tooling to really go out and get the funding that you need to make a difference in the world. 2 years ago, I, like many of you, was that person. And I stepped up, and it was a very painful process. What I found was incomplete databases that forced me to constantly filter and test different keywords, late nights reading through countless grant documents, and hours digging through the internet to try and find enough information needed to decide which grants to apply to. I needed something better. I needed a tool that could actually help me and stop the nightmare of this painful process, just so I could get to the point where I could press submit on an application. Today, I am incredibly excited to share with you that we've built that tool that I needed those years ago and that our users have asked for. And that is truly the next big step towards the future of funding. I want to share a thank you to all of the users who've continued to share feedback with us and build with us. It's really helped us learn how our algorithm needed to be improved, the filters and results that grant professionals really cared about, and helped us make sure that you were accessing the data needed to truly understand the DNA of the grants you're looking at. We're proud to already be supporting several national nonprofits, community organizations, grant consulting firms, and newly RCU designated universities. And for context, RCU was rolled out by Carnegie this year. Typically requires universities to scale their grant ops by 3 to 4x. And we're happy to be a partner in those efforts. And then also a special thank you to Dr. Bev, of course, Angela Mooney, Phoebe Lane, and the teams at University of Southern Maine and the Rue Institute for helping us understand how to go a step beyond just grant and funder data and to provide true strategic intelligence for grant seeking. we're really not here to build another tool. Our goal is to not just build another software tool that throws AI on top. We're building grant intelligence for professionals like you that are operating in the grants world every day. We've seen what happens when AI power becomes more of a marketing tool than a company's conviction around product. And we refuse to let our users be disappointed by that type of inaccurate tool. Grant seeking is about attention to detail and really knowing your stuff. So we've built our platform with the spirit of a grant writer. In order to empower the grants industry with AI, you have to build it yourself because the world of grants is too complex and information dense for most AI to understand. We recognize this, and we're the only ones who've built from scratch to really accommodate the nuance of this industry. And that system that we built is called Grasp. Grasp is the neural layer underneath everything on our platform. It's able to understand the relationships between grants, funders, and the recipients that have been awarded. And we leverage this to provide 93% accuracy in our grant recommendations from our database of over 800,000 private, state, and local, and federal funders to give you access to insights and analysis that have never been possible before until today. We're building the future of funding, and we know we can't do it alone. We want to build with you. We want your feedback. So today, after the demo, sign up, try out our free tier. If you're a current user, the platform is live with the latest updates now, and you can start taking advantage of them today. And as always, when it comes to getting help learning how to use the platform, giving feedback, or sharing what new additions would be needed to make your life easier, my calendar is always open to you. And my email is jacob@grantx.com. Do not be shy about reaching out. Now, let's kick off the demo. I'll hand it to Lyndall to show you what this intelligence really looks like in action. Lyndall and I will be walking through our 3 breakthrough features. That is programmatic search, talk to NoFo, and our platform intelligence.
Okay, hopefully that worked for everyone. What you've just seen really solves the biggest problem in enterprise grant management. One system just doesn't fit everything. And that's why today we're really excited to announce programmatic search. Programmatic search accounts for the fact that an organization like NACHC, who we're using for the example here, has 1,400 community health centers. Each has different demographics, different regions, different initiatives, and today they run hundreds of manual searches and miss around 40% of opportunities, and they waste weeks on grants that they'll never win. Programmatic search works as follows. When you onboard onto our platform, our agent is going to automatically pick up all of the programs that your company currently has, as we can see here. So let's say we pick one. Let's go and grab one. We say that's right. We create the program, and then you can manage it here. These programs are intelligent search agents with unique fingerprints. They're not just saved searches. These are living profiles that evolve with your initiatives. And the best part of this is you can create projects and programs that don't exist yet. If you're planning an expansion, you can create a program today, see what funding is available before you start. And unlike everyone else in the market, we enable future forward searches to understand feasibility before you get started. This is not just grant searching. So when we started building Grantx, grant professionals and, there we go. When we started building Grantx, grant professionals told us that their biggest problem wasn't finding grants, it was knowing which ones they should pursue. The last generation of tools shows you 100 opportunities. You waste months on 60 that were never winnable. But from today, Grantx shows you the 5 that you can win. The interface isn't about features or workflows. It's all about decisions. So to walk you through this, at the very top, we have the Grantx score. So, typically to understand your alignment, the regions that you need to be in, the advantages you have, and even just core eligibility, your team spends hours analyzing one grant's NOFO. Ours analyzes that in seconds. The number is how you break down, and anything that we score is an indication of the quality, but also your likelihood of winning. And that kind of gets down to the key difference of this whole space. There is a huge difference between eligibility and one's ability to win. Most of the current competitive set just tells you that you're eligible, but we tell you if you win, so you know whether or not you should actually invest time in this thing. The next thing that's incredibly exciting is financial intelligence. Foundations don't publish biases, neither does the federal government. And right now they seem to have quite a few. But their giving history reveals everything. For example, a foundation may say that they give out an award $10 million a year. But what you would miss is the fact that this is given out in 5 sets of 2 million. There is no way to know this by looking at a NOFO if it is not declared, which often isn't. Our financial intelligence is able to tell you the actual award, the amount that you should ask for, as well as historic awards given, so you can understand the maturity of the foundation, along with the maturity of the pool of funds itself. We also have competition intelligence. This allows you to understand how many people are applying. What does that competitive set look like? Are they qualified? Are they strong? What is their chance of winning versus yours? And we can see with this grant that actually, it's a federal grant, so our probability is pretty low. However, the market probability is even less. So we know that maybe if we have a solid team of grant writers and we have the resources to do it, we should pursue this. We also have strategic advantages and weaknesses. This is a phenomenal way to understand why you should and why you should not go for a grant, as well as give your team the areas that they may need to strengthen or spend more time on. Maybe they need to look for a partner organization. Maybe you need to be in a specific region. All of this stuff just gets surfaced immediately without having to read the document. And then finally, the thing that I think is coolest, as a project management person, really, is action intelligence. So we pull the critical dates out of the NOFO itself, and then we create a recommended sequence. What should you be doing first? And what should you be prioritizing? Okay. With that said, let me just show you something. No, that's fine. Yeah. With that said, I will now hand back to Jacob, who is going to talk to NOFO.
All right. This is my favorite feature. I'm so excited to be talking about this. All right. So you can see Talk to NOFO on the right-hand side. This is, like most things on our platform, a super simple interface, but in the background is actually an extremely sophisticated system. And so what this allows you to do is essentially skip reading NOFOs. Now, personally, if you're like me, I always like to look at the NOFO, but I want to be able to do it faster. So with Talk to NOFO, I can take the questions that I would typically read through a NOFO to get answers to and just put them right into the chat and receive my responses directly sourced from the grants documents with citations of the page and the section where they came from. Then I can just click into View NOFO at the top, and find exactly where those responses came from, just to do my own little due diligence. So Lyndall, if you want to enter in that question for Talk to Nofo, and we can see it in work.
Jacob, I am terribly sorry. You're going to have to remind me of what the question was.
Sure. I mean, anything that you could ask. I think oftentimes when I'm reading, one of the first questions that I like to get an answer to is, does this require like cost sharing or match, or are co-applicants required? Great, so we've asked our question, and then in just a few seconds, we'll get a response, again, directly from the Grantx Nofo. So you don't have to worry about the risk of hallucinations, inaccuracies that you would typically worry about with kind of other applications of AI. And here we have our response. It looks like there's no explicit mention of cost sharing or matching funds as a requirement in this grant, which is fantastic. But if I wanted to double check that, I absolutely can do so by just clicking View Nofo at the top. And then it looks like the information for that response came from page 13. So we could just jump to page 13. Oh, great question, Lyndall. And for a context of people in the audience, these are not questions that we planned for. This is just the platform doing its job. Looks like the grant mentions including letters of commitment from key collaborating organizations and agencies. That's great insight. And you can find the answer to that, or at least more information, on page 17. So if you wanted to open up the Nofo and just double check, I know a lot of grant specialists like to make sure they're keeping that attention to detail, and we try and make sure we always, allow for that to be done still. I know that everybody likes to do their due diligence, but we can help make it faster. All right. Great. And really what this is about is it does change the meaning of that diligence for grant professionals. Yes, you can still read the Nofo, and everybody likes to still read their Nofos, but now you can do it in seconds and perform the analysis that typically would take you hours for each grant. And I'll pass to Lyndall to kind of talk about our tech differentiation and really what makes our platform special.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob. I mean, I think the key thing to call out here is you've just shown people the part of the platform that reads and has the ability to interpret and understand these very heavy grant documents. And the thing that I'm going to show now is the part of the platform that observes, analyzes, checks the market, and kind of continuously predicts. What makes Grasp and Grantx different isn't AI. Everyone has AI. For us, it is autonomous actions, the asynchronous completion of tasks, and verification of information. Every recommendation, every insight, and every alert traces back to source documentation. So your programs keep searching. As funder priorities shift, we alert you. If the grant gets more competitive, we tell you. And if your win probability changes, you get notified before you waste another hour. Talk to Nofo shows you document intelligence. And now I'm going to show you the same intelligence that monitors your entire portfolio 24/7. Okay, so we do have the standard stuff. You have the ability to track your pipeline down here. But quite frankly, we're not trying to compete with a project management tool. You guys have that. We're not looking to replace it. Our mission is to bring intelligence to the space, which is very much needed. So when you click into a grant that you've saved, you've viewed, you've done your diligence, and you've said, okay, this is something I want to look into more. You click here and we will pull out a requirements checklist. So what needs to be done in order for you to submit this grant? This could be registering the project narrative, the budget narrative, your data management plan, your indirect cost rate agreement, letters of support, and the evaluation plan. As Grantx is built to be collaborative, you can change the status of these and add notes for your team. Keeping everyone aligned so everyone understands who's doing what and who owns what. We also have estimated effort. For those of you that are part of perhaps smaller teams, solo consultants, or just a large organization going after a ton of grants, the most important thing to understand is, do you actually have time to do this? So we pull that out based on the information that we have about your organization. How many people work for you? What is your grants team like typically? How many grants do you go after in a year? And use all of that to extrapolate estimated effort. From there, we can click over into evaluation, which is still loading. Apologies for that.
Also, while we're waiting for that to load, I just want to give a quick shout out to the people in the comments. Really appreciate your support, and we are just as excited as you are to be providing this and giving access to tools that can really help make your life easier. We work very hard to make sure that the things that we're building will actually make a difference in your day to day, and it's amazing to hear that you think so too.
Well, whilst we're waiting for that to load, I will just showcase some of the other functions. So of course, we still have the overview that you would have seen in the previous screen for you to come back and reference. And there's also a comment section. This was one of the most in-demand yet simple features that we added this time around. People want to leave notes, whether it's for themselves, to collaborate with their team, however it is. The other thing to call out is the exportability of the entirety of Grantx. All of our paid users have the ability to pull everything off platform, whether you're reporting it to a client, uploading it, or sharing it with your team. Everything can be pulled off the platform. We also have a portfolio analysis. This is analytics run on your current kind of pipeline of grants, and it forecasts the amount of hours that you'll need to dedicate to do all of them. We flag bottleneck weeks proactively, so you can work with clients, your team, or decide if you really want to pursue that grant if you are overloaded or you have team constraints. And we also have decision quality metrics. So this is the how well your decision making stacks up against the rest of the market. And again, another great thing to show to your boss, to show to a client, and track how much Grantx is helping you as you go. Okay, sorry, I'm just liaising with the team to work out where we are. We have a slight launch day jitter from the platform. There we go, great. Yeah, so this is really, the evaluation done autonomously for you asynchronously, or synchronously, as you just saw. We have a no-go analysis, green flags, reasons that you should proceed, why you should continue to move, the red flags, reasons that you maybe shouldn't go for it. We find that in our beta, this really helped users effectively communicate and decide which grants should and shouldn't be gone for. We also have risk management. What are the risks of going for this? Here we see that there is incredibly high competition and very few people win this due to the volume of applications. We can also see that the NOFO is still waiting to be updated. NIH is quite typical for that one. And then we have our decision trade-offs. If you drop this, what happens? If you continue, what happens? Again, really offloading as much of the manual effort that typically comes from document review and reports that you have to write to make sure that you guys can focus on the mission that matters. You're securing funding for, the incredible companies that you work for and represent.
And just as a reminder, pretty much all of the data and strategic insights that we're offering here on the platform are easily exportable, downloadable, shareable. We want to make this easy to use. And another call out for the notes section. Though it was simple, that is something that hopefully can really help people. And it sounds like it will, given how many people asked for it. It's definitely nice to be able to have all of the information for your grant in one place where that grant lives.
Absolutely. Okay, at this point, we've talked for almost 20 minutes. So before we discuss the roadmap, we would love to address any questions that you have. If anyone's going through activation or has hopped into an account that they already have during this, please hit us with questions or feel free to ask about activation and access in general.
And it looks like we already have one question in the chat from Ellie Reader, excuse me. Is there a way for orgs to indicate if they've applied for and gotten the grant that was recommended on the platform? I would say the best way to do that is, as Lyndall mentioned, though we're not trying to replace project management platforms, you do still have a way of managing, what stage each grant is in. So on the left-hand side of your opportunities page, you have expandable sections, and you can move grants through those sections as they move through your funding pipeline, whether it be grants you're still exploring, grants that you're kind of still reviewing and finalizing, or grants that you've submitted or even been awarded.
We do have a question from Shane on, he would love to hear Bev Browning's opinion on the continued centrality of relationships in this space. The winners will be the people that use these incredible tools on top of keeping relationship building at the center of these strategies. Well, Bev might be in the chat, Shane. I'm sure we'll do another podcast with her soon. We'd be happy to raise it. But Jacob, that's a question that we get from, I think, a decent amount of our user base, but also something that we've heard when just out talking with the market more generally. What is the place of AI in a sector that is, dominated by relationships?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always been that the people who are able to kind of do the extra effort and build those relationships out have an advantage. The thing is, and the reason why not everybody does it, is because there is this massive bulk of very tedious work that you have to do before that, just to find the grant opportunities, to gather the information you need, and trust that information before you can really understand what grants do you want to go after, much less even finding who you need to reach out to at the funder. And so what we're doing and what we're really focusing on is making sure that that big, tedious, bulky work is something that you can kind of just have provided to you pretty autonomously just on our platform. So you can spend your time making informed decisions, using your expertise to understand while leveraging the strategic insights on win probability, as well as where your bottlenecks will be and how you want to actually prioritize which grants you pursue. Then you can go out and spend hopefully much more of your time building out those relationships and getting lunch with funders.
All right, we've got another great question from Doug Greenberg. This seems like a complicated process. Oh, Doug, this is kind of a spoiler for the roadmap section, but we'll allow it. This is a complicated process, and this seems like it can dramatically improve said process. Do we have any early metrics on time saved, grants awarded, or versus submitted, that kind of thing? Doug, I will say you have the ability to download your pipeline at any point. So I would say that's kind of the earliest version that would allow you to access those ratios. In a release that we'll be doing before the end of the year, Talk to NOFO will be able to provide kind of analytics and insights that you're able to offboard. That's not on the platform now, but we are working on it.
All right. And then another question from Isabel Fernandez. What is the evaluation based on to apply or not? Can the user provide info on the project that they're working on and trying to fund? So the answer is yes to both of those. The go, no-go analysis and really that full evaluation tab is to help you decide faster and from a more informed standpoint how to prioritize which grants to apply to and which ones to put on the back burner. And in order to help with this evaluation, we're taking into account when is the deadline, what is the estimated amount of time to apply, and then what is the quality of fit or your probability of winning, and the amount of funding that that grant is for. So that we're taking in all the key variables for prioritizing which grants to pursue and which grants to cut with the interest of capacity. And then, yes, you can provide info on the project. Yeah, we're matching.
Oh no, sorry. Carry on. I was about to call that out and just share screen a little bit to kind of give some context on that. So when you are searching for a specific project, we show you the back end of what we have. So we collect a ton of information on the project or the organization, and then present all of that to you in your settings. So you are able to edit the description, edit the budget, the amount of staff available, since when it's been active, the geographic service area, and also kind of play with the factors that impact your grant eligibility. Some of these will inherit things from your organization report. So, for example, one of the cases that I love to talk about is when we mapped NYU. We were able to map it both as the university, but all the way down to individual faculty and research labs. So you can see each of those and the context that is important from the org is capped. Oh, we seem to have lost Jacob.
Am I
back,
here?
Jacob.
Am I alive?
You are. You're back.
Fantastic.
You'll be gone shortly.
Yeah, I was in the shadow realm for a moment there. So just as a quick call out as well, all of that information, that context base that we use on your organization helps us make those matches based off of really who you are, what you do, and what you actually need funding for. And then we're able to kind of look at that same type of context for each program and project, right? But it's all editable, meaning that once we've gone out and built that context base or the subcontext base for the programs, you have access to those in your Grantx account. And on the left-hand side, right where opportunities and search live, you'll have my org report and my programs where you can quickly go in and edit the information to ensure that you are adding everything you think would help us make the best match for you.
Okay, we will get back to Q&A, but I'm aware that we are at risk of going over time. So I'll talk about the releases quickly, and then Jacob, I'll let you kind of close out. So our roadmap is exciting. You know, as Jacob mentioned at the top of this call, Grantx's aspiration is not just to be a discovery tool, and definitely not to be a workflow tool, but to really systematically rebuild the infrastructure for the grant space in the US. And the way that we're doing that is building on top of GRASP, which is really the backbone, the spine of everything. It is a best-in-class information retrieval tool trained on 64 million grant documents and 3.2 million grant awards. So the first thing that we're going to be launching in early December is a writing assistant. This is not like every AI assistant that's out there and kind of within our competitive set. Those things read grants. Our tool understands grants. That's the key differentiation here. So these are not generic proposals. This tool will be built on top of GRASP, which means it will know grant language. It will draft with you, suggest proven phrases from winning applications, and verify claims against your actual capabilities, as well as suggest claims and data that you should bring to the application. Think of it as your best grant writer's knowledge available to everyone in your team 24/7.
Lyndall, do you mind if I also add something on that as well?
Absolutely.
I think, we had built a writing tool last fall that honestly looked a lot like the other writing tools that are now being launched among the competitive set. And what we realized last fall with our writing tool and where it was then, is that, large language models, which is what most people are using. This is like your ChatGPT type AI. This is what people are using and plugging into to help just write grants. But here's the thing. That type of AI, large language models, are really great at narrative. They're good at writing a narrative. It's great for an email. But as you guys know, grant applications haven't been narrative based for 10 years. In order to win a grant, you need data. You need to provide an evidence-backed argument supporting why you are the best option for receiving that funding and going and making an impact. And we are the best at data. And so for us, a writing tool is less about, telling a story. And it's more about bringing all of the data together about the funder, about the grant, about how that funder and that grant want to see an application written, and about you, as well as pulling data in on your impact to make sure that we're telling a story with data alongside you.
Appreciate it. Great call outs. The other thing that we'll be launching in December is our discovery agent. So functionally, this means you can stop searching for grants and we will find grants for you. So whether it's for your organization or for a specific project, you set parameters once, and every morning or every week, depending on your preferences, we'll send you winnable opportunities just direct into your inbox. Not 50 maybes, but the 5 that you should actually care about and that you should actually pursue. This will be like having a full-time grant researcher who never sleeps, never misses a deadline, never misses a NOFO being updated or a grant deadline being moved forward. It actually understands what you can win and helps you do it at scale. Jacob, your audio is gone, which means I'm moving on to the releases in Q1 of 25. In early Q1, we will be releasing something called application autofill. So your average grant requires entering the same information into 47 different fields across 15 forms. As of Q1, that will become one click. So your application will flow directly from Grantx into grants.gov foundation portals and state systems. That is all of the perks of the writing tool, but with a couple of iterations from learning from our users at the click of a button. In late Q1, we'll be launching our transaction layer. And I think this is the most exciting part of what I would call tangible infrastructure that we're building. Everything that we're building before that really enables this to happen. It's the ability to actually impact win rates by making sure you're allocating time to the right grants, making sure that you are writing a grant in a way that resonates with that funder. And the next thing is we're going to be rebuilding how grant funds move through America. So today, when you win a grant, you wait 3 to 6 months for funds. We're building the pipes that cut that into weeks. You'll get instant award notifications. Some will qualify for accelerated disbursements. Compliance tracking will be built in. And we really see ourselves in this state as becoming the infrastructure layer between funders and recipients. When this launches, the entire grants economy will receive some much needed acceleration. When we talk to users, sometimes these federal grants take 9 months to get paid out.
Lyndall, I am chomping at the bit to get to Q&A. I'm seeing a couple of questions in the chat that we should really jump on. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think just as we close out, there's kind of one point that I really want to make.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the training, the quality, and I think the necessary introduction of trustworthy AI in the space, which is really what GRASP is. This training on all of this data means that, the difference between us and kind of the last generation of grant tools is it's like the difference between a medical student who memorized textbooks versus a doctor that's seen 10,000 patients. GRASP has seen what it takes to win 3.2 million grants. And that is almost institutional and industrial knowledge that not everyone can access. Organizations like Harvard or scaled nonprofits that have been around for decades, they know all of this. They know how to talk to funders. They know the rotation cycles of funding. And with Grantx, that's accessible to everyone in seconds. But you are right, I have talked about the technical side of this for far too long. So let's do some Q&A.
Let's do it. And actually, coming back to Q&A, one of the first questions I want to hit, or coming back to technical, one of the first questions I want to hit is from Yvonne White-Maury, asking what the environmental impact of Grantx's platform is. And I think this is something that is really cool for us to talk about. And Lyndall, I'll absolutely let you answer this. But first, I just kind of want to say, why and how we do things. From the beginning, Grantx has been about solving problems and trying to make sure that we are making an impact. Really, the kind of our team motto internally and what we've built the team around is that we can't solve all the world's problems, but we can solve the biggest problem for the people that are you. And so whenever we build something, we try and make sure that we're not going to make any sort of negative impact, or we're doing our best to avoid it. And we've taken that into account with the development of Grasp and how it compares to other AI. So I'll pass to you, Lyndall.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be incredibly candid, the climate impact is almost a side effect of the way that we've built Grantx. Whilst it was very much considered, our priority was always delivering the highest quality product to our users and ensuring that it was, an update for the space. However, the majority of our competitors in this kind of last generation of grant seeking and writing tools are far too dependent on large language models. Large language models have an insane impact on the climate, whether it's water usage, energy uses, the increasing of energy bills in communities that have had training centers built near them. Grantx and Grasp is a machine learning stack. Our kind of capital expenditure and our footprint is roughly 10% that of a traditional large language model. We also kind of monitor our carbon impact and outputs, and Google provides a fantastic panel for us to do that. And we have a plan starting in Q1 of 2026 to start to offset that carbon through that partner program.
And just to kind of summarize a little bit there, because also I don't know, the comment of the climate impact is a side effect of Grantx. That statement is not saying that as a side effect of our platform, there is a impact to the climate.
Oh.
It's saying, yeah. What Lyndall is saying is that as we were building, kind of one of the side benefits of what we were building is that it is extremely more, it's significantly more environmentally friendly than other AI models that you see out in the marketplace, about 10x more friendly in limiting that climate and environmental impact. Yeah. And we plan to try and take that 10% down to 0.
Yeah, I perhaps should have said the reduction of impact is a side effect of the way that we've built, rather than suggesting that we have our own private coal power plant or something. Complete misstep.
Chalk it up to, it's just the way you say it in England. That's just the way you say it in England.
My bad. Yeah, but great question.
All right, let's look at another one here. I picked the last one. You can pick the next one.
Okay, working down. Let's have a look. Okay, there's a great question. If we have several programs for which we are seeking grants, can we tailor the go, no-go for more than one project without losing info on the previous programs? Absolutely. Your program searches and your org searches are completely independent of each other. Activities that happen at a program level or project level won't impact anything upstream. You can have, your go, no-go analysis is unique per grant, per project. It's not going to go away if you switch.
Fantastic.
Sorry, there's another question from Shay, which I missed. That was above that one. If I'm a nonprofit and I'm seeking funding for a new program, you're saying I can write out my future program idea in natural language and you can bring me back potential matches for such programming. Yeah, absolutely. We'll even look forward in cycle. That's not something that's live right now, but will be live in December. We'll be adding grant forecasting based on the regular cadences. So it won't just be the grants that are open, it'll be the grants that will be open when your program exists.
But the ability to manually add a project that doesn't exist yet, that is live right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. On concept paper development, as we mentioned, our systems for actually kind of preparing proposals, we will start to launch to our users who sign up this month, actually. We'll start launching the beta access to that in late December.
But yeah, it can help with anything grants. The amount of documents that it's seen during its training means that it's probably seen a fair few NSF concept papers. So it can help with anything in life cycle.
And let's see. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I will say I've already had somebody put a onboarding call for the launch onto my calendar, and we are approaching it. So we'll probably be wrapping up soon, but we have time for one final question. And remember, post us on LinkedIn today and just tag Grantx, and you'll get a free month of access. Also, sign up today, and maybe we'll give you that free month of access too.
To the writing tool, just to clarify.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Good. Superb. Okay. Well, that looks like we have exhausted questions. Thank you everyone so much for coming. And yeah, Jacob, handing to you to close out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, right before we did this and hopped on this call, I said to Lyndall, it is truly the greatest privilege in my life to be doing this. And I know that the team shares that sentiment. This is, there's a reason why the products that we launch are better. And it's because they are made by people who truly care about solving these problems for the people like you that operate every day in this industry. I mean what I say when I welcome you to send me emails, to put time on my calendar, and to talk about what you need and what feedback you have. We want to build this tool with you. We want to make sure that everything that we're building is making as much of an impact on your day-to-day life as possible so that we can make your life easier. We are here for you. So don't be a stranger. Don't be afraid to reach out. And thank you for joining us on this journey.